This is the 2024 GMC Acadia Denali. Is it worth every penny? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I borrowed this Acadia from my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video. This is white frost tri-coat as the exterior color, and we'll find the fully redesigned look. If you haven't looked at the new Acadia for 2024, you're going to notice that it still looks like an Acadia, but definitely a lot more boxed off, maybe more squared off is a better way to put it, with a more boxy look than what we've seen in the past. And you'll have your LED projector beam headlights, the LED daytime running lights, and I don't have them on, but you do also have the LED fog lights down there, and I have the turn signals on. Now, a lot of the time I talk about how you have that effect that makes it look animated that's actually due to the camera. That's not really happening. Well, in this case, it is really happening. It's just the way the effect looks with the turn signals, but the lights don't actually do that. So if I have other lighting on and you see it kind of having that shimmering effect, that's not really happening. And you'll find your front camera right here. There are going to be cameras everywhere on this model. This is front wheel drive, but if you want all-wheel drive, that is optional and it is available. As far as our tire and wheel setup goes, let's look at our sizes. A lot of 55s, 255 on your width, 55 series sidewall, and in this case wrapped around the 20-inch wheels. And quite a bit to talk about with the side view mirrors. They're heated, they're power adjustable, they're power folding. Turn signal indicators are built in. You have the cameras built in, and you have your blind spot monitoring right here. We'll also find our door handles to have passive entry on the front doors and the rear doors. That means when you have the remote in your possession, that all you have to do is walk up to the vehicle and touch or push those buttons, and you can lock or unlock all four doors. There is your remote. You have remote start, power tailgate, lock, unlock, and if you panic, there's your button for when you do. Hopefully you don't. Yeah, and you have your roof rails up there where you can buy the crossbars that go across and give you that additional storage capacity. We've finished things off here with that same effect with the turn signals here on the rear with our lighting, Denali logo on the rear as well. You're gonna have some gloss black in a few different areas here and some silver and chrome finish depending on where you look. And something that does balance things off nicely, at least in my personal opinion, is the quad tip exhaust back here. Instead of just having 2 or maybe 0 exhaust outlets, you do have the quad tip, and you also have your rear window wiper right here. Doesn't look too bad as far as that goes, and you'll notice, believe it or not, that was not a trick. I didn't mean to do that. I was just standing there, and it's not because I touched the wiper back there. That was unintentional. But that's actually a trick that we're going to talk about later in the video. This is a true hands-free tailgate. If you have the remote on your person, you can walk up here and stand behind the tailgate. You'll hear those beeps and it will open. But one thing that's very interesting about that, since we're on the subject, I'll go ahead and cover that now. If you walk by like this, I don't know if it will do that for me right now. I don't think it's going to, but it might start beeping. As long as you keep moving, it won't open. But if you do want it to open, you can stand there in place and it will open for you. Maybe your hands are full and you just want to use that feature. One of the changes for 2024 is the now singular engine option under the hood. It's a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 328 horsepower and 326 pounds-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. What are my thoughts? Personally, I think GMC should have still left the 6-cylinder as an available option for those who want that. Just my thoughts on the matter. Tell me what you think. So with that 4-cylinder under the hood, what kind of MPGs are we going to expect? 20 city, 27 highway, 23 combined, 4.3 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And if you're curious about the gas tank size, it holds up to 21.7 gallons. And I told you earlier in the video that these are power folding side view mirrors. You can actually go into your settings, and there's a setting where when you lock the interior, that these mirrors automatically fold in. When you unlock the interior, they'll automatically fold out. I'll show you how to do that later in the video. And back here, when it comes to practical use, well, let's talk about that. You can tow up to 5,000 pounds when properly equipped, and our cargo capacity is going to range depending on how you set things up with your seats, whether you have everything folded down like I do right now so you can see maximized cargo capacity, or if you have these back seats in their upright position, you're looking at 23 cubic feet of cargo capacity up to as much as 97.5 cubic feet of cargo capacity. And you have the buttons right here that will lower the middle seats. It just drops them down, but you'll have to manually put those back up. However, you can bring these seats in the rear back up with the buttons that I just used right there. Obviously the same thing to lower those. We'll also have a 12-volt power outlet right here. We're gonna have some tie downs on each side, and things that fall off that aren't really supposed to fall off, I'll make sure to put that back in place. And in case anybody says, Tom, did you put that piece of plastic back in place after it fell off? Yes, I did. And you're gonna find your 12-volt power outlet right here, so that makes things nice and easy. And a lot going on beyond that. We have storage underneath the floor right here, and you can see that you'll also have a diagram right here that tells you how to gain access to your spare tire. Yes, there is a spare tire. And something I normally show, and I will show you this later in the video, it's in the infotainment screen, but if you want to change the height of your power tailgate, how far it opens, or if it's not opening, you'll need to go in and make sure that that feature is turned on. And let's see what your second and third row passengers are going to find. Nice interior. I like the light color here. You have a combination with some light and some dark finish as far as what we have here with this leather interior. It's not all black. I like that. Depends on who you are and whether you have kids or not, whether you like having a lighter interior. Plenty of room with the armrest. One of my favorite things here is the fact that it is completely flat. Nice large door bin, and a nice design here just to give it that little bit of an extra added value as far as the way it looks. Just looks nicer that way. And while they're not necessary to get in and out, I do like having the grab handles right here at these doors. And you do have the panoramic sunroof. That front portion will open. There is a power shade that can be drawn back and forth. And I wanted to make sure to show you something very important here for your third row passengers. You can see the difference in the positioning of the seats. So these seats can be moved back and forth to increase, or for fun, just to decrease. The kids are messing with each other. Decrease leg space for the third row passengers. And something I know people ask about a lot of the time, because apparently in these videos, most people go to the driver's side over there to get into the back seat, and they say, can you even do it from the passenger side? Yeah, you can. Just push the button right here. Well, I say we push the button right there. Let's do that. Come on. And there's what should happen when you push that button. That seat should get up and out of the way like that. I don't know why it wouldn't do that for me earlier, just not cooperating. I guess because the video is going and it thought, let me be rebellious. Now this seat is not all the way back. It would come back to about where my hand is right here. There is quite a bit of space back here. I would rather have the seats where they are right now. I don't know how practical that is for middle row passengers. It just depends on who is sitting there. We'll also find a USB port right here, a cup holder, and some space right there. Over here on the other side, on the left-hand side, we'll find the same thing. And a nice look with the panoramic sunroof from this viewpoint, and something that I really like. You'll notice you don't have air conditioning vents here. They're in where I feel is the better location, which is going to be the roof area. That allows the air to be able to get to the passengers a lot faster. So that's a good thing. And let's see if I can get this seat to get up and out of the way for me. There we go. Not a big deal. Very easy to deal with. That way, while rear seat passengers could use the pass-through right there, if they don't want to, and whoever's in the middle seat jumps out first, they can push that button and get the seat out of the way and get out no problem. And there is the shade that I mentioned earlier, so we can get rid of a little bit of a glare. It's a nice, bright, sunny day. I don't think we need that open for this portion of the video. Now, you have 3 zones of climate control. The third zone here in the rear, everything is controlled and adjusted on the rear of the center console. You can also see that we have some connectivity options down here. In fact, we'll show you what's there. That power outlet actually has some nice advantages in addition to the USB options. And more storage on the rear of the seats in the form of the seat pockets, and there are fold-down armrests. I do say this a lot. I wish they were a little bit longer. It just seems like it would be more comfortable that way. I guess it depends on how long your arm is, but with my hand hanging off like that, I don't know, that just doesn't work for me the same way. But that's what we have. But something that I can definitely give good points on, high points on, would be the latch system here. It's just there. It's open. You don't have to worry about removing any kind of a cover or keeping up with anything like that. That's a good thing. Also, you're going to have the heated seats right here on both sides for your middle row passengers. And you might have noticed you can control the air conditioning here on the rear of the center console, but there's no air conditioning vents. Well, not on the center console. Once again, they're up there mounted into the roof area, but obviously with your panoramic sunroof, there's no way that we could put them in the same position as what we saw in the rear. Therefore, they're going to be located on the side, but still, I think a better position than having them way down here. Couple of cup holders there as well. When it comes to answering the question of whether this Acadia Denali is worth every penny, knowing the sticker price will help. $58,190 is what you can expect to pay, at least at Mike Morgan Buick GMC. Nice large armrests here again for the driver and the passenger in the front. You'll find large door bins. There's another option for opening and closing the power tailgate. Everything you expect to see here is going to be here. Controls for your power windows, power mirrors, and you don't have to go into the infotainment screen to change that setting I told you about, turn it on or off, to fold your power side view mirrors. You can just choose when you do or when you don't via the button right here, or you can set it to do so automatically. Now, at this price point, even though we're not over $60,000, I still personally believe if you have seat memory on the driver's side, you should automatically also have that on the passenger side. If you're looking for your power parking brake, it's right here. We have our drive mode selector, and we also have the ability to turn the auto stop start system off or back on, depending on what you want to do. Right here is the control for adjusting your power adjustable steering wheel, tilt and telescopic adjustability. And then we also have power seats for the driver and the passenger with lumbar support. A lot of you seem to want that. So I want to make sure I let you see that it's there. There's your pass-through with a little bit of space within. There's a 12-volt power outlet in there. Kind of hard to show that from this particular vantage point, but it is there. And we'll take a quick look at the animated graphics on the digital instrument display, just to let you see what's here real fast for those who might wonder. So I'm going to reach down here and hit our push button start and bring everything to life. And speaking of bringing everything to life, here is one of your options of what you can bring up on your infotainment screen navigation, or excuse me, on your instrument cluster. That's the infotainment screen. That is the instrument cluster. If I don't say something about it, somebody will correct me down in the comments section. For those of you who live for correcting others, I'm sorry that I just spoiled that opportunity for you. It is 82 degrees right now, as you can see right there. And if you're like Monk, you probably just had an absolute fit because I just accidentally touched the screen, so there's a fingerprint there. Sorry about that. Your instrument cluster will also have right here your speedometer. It is digital, and we have our steering wheel mounted controls here. I think everybody knows what is here. You have your heated steering wheel. I wish, especially when you have a darker finish, a black finish, any dark finish, that you also had a ventilated steering wheel. I don't think that exists at this point, but somebody might tell me different. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. Also, we're going to have our shifter paddles right here. So if you're feeling sporty and you want to use those shifter paddles, you can. In fact, speaking of that, let's run through our driving modes. And so I'm just going to show you what we have. And this is in no particular order. I'm just starting. There's tow haul mode. You also have snow and ice. Make sure you have all-wheel drive if you're going to need to use that. It will work better. You probably already know that. Sport mode, if you're feeling sporty. And if you're feeling normal, you also have your normal driving mode. And over here on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, one of the things that will probably add a lot of value to your vehicle when you trade it in, because you will have turn signal bulbs that have never been used. They're in like new condition for those of you who don't know what this lever is for or just refuse to use it. Yes, I'm being sarcastic. For those who don't know, it's okay to laugh. You can also control your front and rear window wipers here and run your windshield washer fluid. You'll control the shifter or use the shifter right here. And there's a lot going on here. You pull back on that, it goes into neutral. Keep it pulled back and you're going to pull down to go into drive, and then the same thing to go into reverse, and then there is how you go into park. Now, one of the biggest changes for 2024 right here, a 15-inch infotainment screen. Very large. If you like to have a knob for adjusting the volume on your radio, well, there's definitely one there. It's big. You do control a lot here, maybe a little too much. I don't know. You'll have to tell me what your thoughts are on that. Now, one thing I do like is the fact that you can control your air conditioning and everything to do with that right here via these controls. So it's not all in the infotainment screen, although you can touch the screen to do that. If you want to turn on your ventilated seats right there, you can do that. If you want to turn on your heated seats, you do it right there as well, or you can turn all of that off depending on what you want to do. Now, if you need to do anything with your headlights, your fog lights, here's where you do that. I just touched right there, and we can go to auto off. You can turn on the lights depending on what you need to turn on right there. And right here, that's all I did was just touch right there. You have a few other things here that you can control, and the main thing I wanted to show you here is the fact that not only can you control the lights here as well, but you can control the positioning, the brightness, and whether it's on or off. I don't know why you would have a head-up display and not turn it on, but if you did want to turn it off, well, there's how you do that. And I don't know how well you can see that. I'm hoping to go inside in just a little bit, and we should be able to see all of that a lot better. But there's a lot going on here. Cameras everywhere you need to see, literally all over the vehicle. Nice and bright, very clear. I like that. You have a couple of different views depending on what you need to see, whether it's the front view or the rear view right there, or the overhead view, depending on what you're doing and what you're around. There's a lot of advantages that you can take advantage of, a lot of options you can take advantage of, depending on what you need to see and where you need to see and how you need to see. So always a good thing to have those right there. Google Assistant is here. We're not going to demonstrate that because I don't want to set anything off in your homes. Maybe I will do that one day just to have some fun with everybody. I'll probably upset some people if I do that. You can go into the screen here and control the climate if you want to do that, but you don't have to. That's one thing I like about that. So that's always a nice thing to have, depending on what your preference is. Wireless connectivity for your phone. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can go in to trailering right here. I showed you that you have a tow haul mode, so there's your trailering. A lot going on where that's concerned. I'm not going to go through everything where that is concerned, but just to show you what's there. Now, one thing I do want to go in and show you is your settings. Let's talk about what we have here. Now, there is a lot here, a little bit of everything. I'm not going to show you all of it, but some of the questions that I know a lot of people have to do with things such as turning on and off buckle to drive. Today, I turn that off personally because if I need to move this Acadia around, I don't need to put my seatbelt on to do that in the parking lot where I am. But when you are driving, I do encourage you to use that. If your teen is driving, you have teen driver mode. So that's a good thing. All those great features, climate and air quality. And here is one that I know people like to know about. Your safety features, your collision detection systems, automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking, intersection collision braking, adaptive cruise go notifier, side bicyclist alert, lane change alert, park assist with braking, even more, park assist tow bar, your rear cross traffic braking, and rear pedestrian alert. So there's all of that. Very easy to deal with. Now let's go in here to comfort and convenience. So you'll notice a few different things we have here. If your chime volume is too loud, you can turn that down. So I definitely would not want it all the way up there. Now I guess it depends on who you are and how good your hearing is. If you want your mirrors to reverse or to tilt when you go into reverse, well, there you go. You can turn it on or off right there. And your remote mirror folding is also turned on. I'm going to turn that off because that's the way it was earlier, but that's how I set things up so that when I lock the vehicle, those mirrors automatically fold in. So one of those things that make it so nice and convenient to deal with depending on what you want to do. And your lighting, that's something else to look at here. So you do have ambient lighting, you have vehicle locator lights, you can turn that on, and your exit lighting. There is a lot going on here as far as your multiple colors with your ambient lighting. That's one of the things that I'm going to try and get into a darker atmosphere here shortly and show you. Hopefully we can get in there and do that. You do have your maps. Now I won't be able to show you too much here without turning everything on, so I'm not going to do that. We're just going to leave that the way it is, but you know that it's there. You've already seen it. You can also bring that up here on your infotainment screen. I could make a whole video on all of this, but we won't do that. Now, if you want a cleaner look, we can close this area right here, but you have your wireless charging pad, a little bit of space right here, and a USB option, your cup holders, and a very large center console. Very comfortable, easy to deal with. We'll also find our center console has plenty of space in it. This is not all you have. This tray is removable, in case you wondered. And you can see what else is here as far as our plentiful space goes. And for those who might want to know, yes, there is a glove box here. Plenty of room within the glove box. And how about our upper console, just to show you what all is here. There's a good view for you. You can pause the video if you need to see everything. Here's how you control the power shade and your sunroof. You do also have a sunglass holder that apparently is kind of like those rear seats. I have to help it out a little bit to get it in place or get it open. And also a vanity mirror with the lights that automatically come on. And let's see how far back this goes. I wish it went back just a little bit further, depending on where your seat is set. You might still get a little bit of sun, but I think most people will be okay with that. And one thing I did want to make sure I showed you that I promised to show you earlier, hopefully I didn't forget anything else, but how to deal with your power tailgate. So we're going to go down here to comfort and convenience. You saw I went to settings, vehicle, now we're going to comfort and convenience. And right here, we're going to have power tailgate opening. So you can go to maximum, you can go to custom, or it can be set to off. This is where you need to come if it's not opening or if you want to make any changes. And we'll start our ambient lighting here in the rear seat as far as showing you what's here. There's not much back here, but on the Denali trim level, you will find ambient lighting in the rear seating area. And I also wanted to show how bright it is in here with your lighting, your interior lighting. So very easy to see after dark. That is one thing I really like. In fact, I'll step outside of the vehicle just to show you how bright that really is. And here is a look in the front seat. We're going to have a little bit more than what we did in the back seat area, just to show you what's here. And don't worry, I'm going to change it to a few different colors just so you can see what all is here. But just to kind of give you a little bit of a view of everything. Now, depending on what you like, well, determine what you want to change it to. Let's see if I can get that to change right there. There we go. We're going to change to red. I say we're going to change to red. There is red. And then we're also going to have green and blue and purple and all that different stuff. So there's a lot of different lighting here. It's not Mercedes-Benz like, but there is some lighting here if that's something you like. All right, here we go on the test drive. The main question I know a lot of people have has to do with this 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder under the hood, and they're concerned about reliability. I don't expect that to be a problem. This isn't meant to be a high performance vehicle, so if you drive it appropriately, I think it's going to last you a long time. I know some of that, how hard you push your vehicle, is determined by where you live and how people around you drive. So if you live in an area where the speed limit is, say, 70 or 75 miles per hour and everybody's driving way over that, well, you might have to push it a little bit harder. Maybe you can let us know in the long term how that works out, but I feel like this engine will hold up just fine. I do wish that GMC had stuck with a 6-cylinder option and at least made it available, but they didn't. So we'll just have to see how it goes over the course of time. But drive one before you make a decision and see what you think. Now, depending on where you live, like I said, you have front-wheel drive as we do with this model, but all-wheel drive is available. So if you need all-wheel drive, it's nice to know that it's there. It's available if you need it, so you don't have to worry so much about it. And we have a good chance here to do a little acceleration test and make sure we get out in front of the traffic. So if you don't see anybody pass me, then you know we're doing just fine, and you're not going to see anybody pass me. So that's a good little test right there. Now, ride quality is something else that I know is always a concern, and rightfully so. It's good here in the front seat. Now, that's the only place I've ridden, so I couldn't tell you what it's like in the middle or the third row. I would imagine it's good back there. It's acceptable. I don't think it's going to be horrible. But here in the front seats, definitely nice and comfortable, and you definitely have a lot of adjustability built into the seats and the steering wheel to where somebody who is well in excess of 6 feet tall should be perfectly comfortable here. So maybe somebody who is over 6 feet tall that's watching this video can share their feedback on how that has worked, what your experience has been. I'm 5'10", so if you're curious about that, obviously I can't really say a whole lot about what it would be, how I would fit if I was over 6 feet tall. The gas and the brake pedals seem to be easy to deal with, at least for me. Some of that is going to depend on what you're used to driving. So if you're coming out of a vehicle that maybe doesn't have a lot of horsepower, you're definitely gonna need to adjust a little bit, I would think. Maybe not, I don't know, but you just things to think about. That's why test driving these vehicles for yourselves is so important. I feel like while a lot of people want to see a test drive in these videos, I feel like it is probably the least useful part of the video. I know other people might say that it's very useful. It just depends, I guess, on what it is you want to know, but you need to experience it for yourself. Now, one thing I can definitely say here based on experience that I believe is an across-the-board experience is the fact that the technology here is very easy to learn and very easy to use. While you have the much larger touchscreen here compared to the previous generation of the Acadia, that doesn't mean the technology has become more challenging to deal with. So you really don't have to worry about that. I think everybody will be just fine as far as that goes. And so a well-rounded vehicle, in my opinion, plenty of room, plenty of cargo space. You can tow up to 5,000 pounds if you need to. There's a lot going here. But for those who might say, you know, Tom, the one thing I don't like is the price point. Well, you have additional trim levels that you can choose from depending on your budget. So tell me what you think about the 2024 GMC Acadia Denali. Is it worth every penny? Is there something that isn't available that you wish were available? Tell me down in the comments section. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this Acadia for the day. And a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.